You're listening to Real Talk All Sport with Dav Matheson and Nathan Blake. If you can hear us, you're listening on Spotify with Real Talk All Sport podcast. If you're watching, it's because you are on Mr. B Productions WAL. So, Nathan, with the Champions League that's been going on this week, there has been a game. I think something that lots of fans have actually been really enjoying is seeing Aston Villa, and they played PSG.
Hell of a game.
What a game.
Well, PSG, listen, they're just in a different league at the moment, in fairness. Do you know what? It's kind of like a lesson to anyone who thinks, I'll just buy a big team or buy a team and we'll do it that way, and we'll get loads of superstars, and Madrid went through it for a period. Galacticos, had some wonderful players, but it was just all about attack, and that's why Barcelona used to rip them up, because they just had Ronaldinho and a couple of others. But no, I thought it was. Listen, I thought it was a great game.
Yeah.
Villa scoring. I was thinking, even I was up in the air, right? I'm like, you go from being Welsh to British very quickly, or I do, right?
Yeah.
The British team to beat the French team, and I don't care who it is. I'm like, nah, mate, I'm loyal to my island and that. You know what I mean? So when they scored, and Morgan Rogers, such a good player, I was a little surprised they didn't start Ollie Watkins, but listen, you're never going to question the manager, because he's one of the best to do it, right? Especially in European competition. So you're not going to question him. If you're Ollie Watkins' mind, you have to be devastated.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's the life of a professional footballer. Saturday comes, you got to pick yourself up and go and work for your place. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Everyone at Villa is at such a high level, because everyone knows, right, if I don't play well, chances are I'm going to be gone. You know what I mean? And Duran, who I thought was a brilliant player, but he was clearly outside of the box. He was like, well, if Ollie Watkins isn't kicking stuff when he's brought off, right, and you're coming on and scoring, and then when you get brought off, you're kicking and throwing your stuff. Listen, it was a matter of time. So great business by Aston Villa, I thought, moving him on, right, because it's just going to upset the dressing room. And Unai Emery, I just think, wonderful, wonderful manager. I love his aggression and his passion. But what he's done with that team, second bottom line when he took over.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
I mean, took over from Stevie G and just took that same team and done what he's done with it, and then obviously progressed it to the level it's at. It's like, I still don't think he's getting enough credit for what he's done. But let's talk about the game. Unbelievable game. Yeah. And then listen, I know Martinez wore some cap or whatever to wind up the fans or whatever, but Doué sticks one in your top corner like that, and then Mendez's goal sits you down or what have you, and Kovac-Vili.
Yeah.
They were just, listen, all the goals were cracking, all 4 goals were cracking, and I thought they were a little hard done by to go in 3-1 down rather than 2-1 down. Yeah. But listen, it makes for an unbelievable return at Villa Park.
Two stadiums with cracking atmospheres as well. Because I forgot, I with French football, and I've enjoyed watching French football over the years, the atmosphere in French football is wild.
Yeah.
The atmosphere at PSG yesterday was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was so loud. And I was looking at PSG, and growing up for me, watching Barcelona was the thing. I loved watching Barca. My kind of time was just on the end of Ronaldinho at Barca.
At the beginning of Messi.
I loved him, beginning of Messi. And I saw them playing 2010. And watching that team, which this PSG team has become incredibly good under everyone's noses, like
Mm.
since kind of Messi going, Neymar and Mbappe going, everyone kind of just went, oh, okay, that's the reign of PSG being a big team.
Nobody you're a better team.
Yeah,
That's the idea because now you've got 11 working parts, all
yeah,
working in unison and working
mhm,
unbelievable hard. And then you've got the superstar talents as well.
yeah,
But those superstar talents are not like like Messi was obviously on his way down,
yeah,
right? Mbappe wants to be the king. And
mm,
so it was all very much like
yeah,
politics. And I think what the PSG owners will have learned is what they're watching now, I would say, is the best PSG I've seen.
yeah.
Right? Because the
It's
way they
yeah,
work and close and press and don't give you a moment's peace and then get the ball, relax, keep it, blah, 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 and then but then attack you with it. There's always tempo in their game.
yeah. It reminds me
You
of that team that Barcelona always like were for me growing
Xavi,
up. That Xavi
Iniesta,
Iniesta was that is that now like
Puyol, yeah,
Vitinho,
yeah.
and a centre mid as well.
Mm.
The Spanish guy with the left foot, names just left me.
The,
Um,
the Spanish guy with the left foot
so,
for
no,
Barcelona.
for PSG now, Ruiz.
Oh, Ruiz,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
him and Vitinho, like
Fabian Ruiz.
yeah, incredible player. Like
Mm.
that midfield like ownership, as well as having wingers who are wide and
Yeah,
and
Nuno Mendes.
like Mendes possibly the best left back as well, but also he's getting
Yeah,
wide rather than inverted,
yeah,
which we've been
yeah,
seeing with
yeah.
Pep.
He
I
sometimes he was above what Cavachvili. He
Yeah.
sometimes he's above him, and I'm like, what the shit it has going on here?
But I'm like, that's the football I loved.
Yeah,
And it's so exciting to watch. And it's it for me, I don't know if you think that, but it's like seeing the Barcelona when Messi was there in terms of like style and fun. And it is obviously it's Luis Enrique as the manager. But
and there's the connection, right?
yeah,
They say, well, you've got Enrique as the manager, and I think what he's done, he's got his way.
yeah,
He's kind of let the owners and what have you say, right, this is the way we're doing it. And then he's gone, okay, but this is the consequence of that. It's not where it could be. And then they've gone, okay, go on then, do it your way. And he's gone, right, you see now what it's going to take for you to actually win this Champions League. And they might not win it,
mm,
but they've got the best chance that like them and Barcelona, if they get through, Barcelona are unbelievable last night as well.
mm,
The way they play, Barcelona are like the Barcelona of Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. They're back to that sort of standard,
yeah,
and they're very much them and PSG play a very similar way, and like it will be. I'd love it. I was thinking last night. I watched the Barcelona game, and I thought after the PSG game, I thought I want that to be the final.
yeah.
PSG, even though I'm like hopeful for Aston Villa, I'm like, Arsenal hopeful. I would love to see the way the two teams play, PSG, Barcelona.
Mm. Absolutely, and it's nice for them to be scary again. Like it's,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's one of the first times in a long time PSG have been taken like really really seriously, and now
yeah.
it's like okay, Barca are starting to get a little bit frightening again, and they're like all in their early 20s, apart from Lewandowski.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's the thing. Like you look at Barca, and they're kids, right? They,
mhm,
they're like they're so young. Lewandowski's like the daddy. Yamal is Finnish. It was similar to Ronaldo, the I call the real Ronaldo because if you're the Finnish, the real Ronaldo, right?
mm,
So R9, the real Ronaldo, I think he scored a goal in the World Cup like that because he couldn't. I think it was the game where he had a problem with his knee,
mm,
and because he couldn't ping the ball or bend the ball, he's gone through and he's just toe poked it.
yeah,
Right? The other toe poke is obviously the Ronaldinho Barca or Chelsea Barcelona, where he's bent it with a toe poke, which is ridiculous. So no, Yamal, listen,
Mm,
the Champions League at the moment is just on fire,
yeah.
fire.
Mm, nice. Then you got a choice now, Nath. Cardiff City or Wales? Bellamy. What do you wanna go?
Let's go Cardiff City because we keep
Right.
it
Because
cheap.
this week obviously you've been busy in Preston. Wow. We
Are
just
we
got
climbing down? Are we?
I
That's what we've done. We
I
climbed down from Barcelona,
I
Villa,
know.
PSG. Listen, I said on air, I done the game up at Preston. I said on air, I said, you know, uh, I think they're in a mindset at the moment. They probably don't believe it's going to happen to them, or that's the appearance of how they're playing,
Yeah.
right? Because forget like Mayte scoring a late goal again, wonderful, brilliant for the fans. But the fans were what they were annoyed in the first half, right? They were
Mm,
angry at the fact that, what's going on, lads? You're in a battle. Like you
mm,
need to step up and really go for it. Like show some aggression in your play. And it was very nice. And Preston were there for the taking, Dav.
mm,
If there's ever a time you want to go and play a team is when they've won 1 in 5.
yeah.
They're not good. They're not playing well at all. They put their eggs in the FA Cup basket, which went pear-shaped. And now, like, the crowd was sparse. It wasn't like a full crowd or anything like that. It was a great opportunity for Cardiff to go and not nick. They didn't have to nick it. They just have to physically dominate your opponent.
Yeah.
I get the feeling whoever's most aggressive out of those bottom 4 or 5 teams, whoever's the most aggressive will stay up. And Cardiff need a lot more aggression in they play and I don't mean fight, I mean tackles, the way you aggress, the way you approach the game, the way you run hard, physical challenges.
Showing
I
authority.
like, yeah, I like Salah, right? He's a good finisher, but for a big physical lad, he's not a physical player.
Mm,
He could frighten the life out of defenders. It's not just about scoring goals. As the leader of the line, you've got to be physical. You've got to overpower the defenders. And I know it's difficult. You won against 2 centre halves or 3 centre halves, but you physically dominate each one of them. If you're going for a header against one of them, you make sure you win it. And if you
mm,
go a header 2 minutes late, you win that as well, so that the defender thinks, right, like I can't beat them in the air. That makes your life easier.
yeah, I
And
get
then
you.
you run him a couple of times. Then when he comes in to challenge you shoulder to you make sure you physically dominate him with the ball. You hold it up. You may hold up one and put your arm out and hold off another and bring people into play. But they need to show that urgency, Cardiff. It's at the
Mm,
moment, it's like this not sleepwalking. They obviously know the position they're in. But okay, well, I mentioned it last night. What was the game? It was yeah, Macedonia, where Brooksy scores,
yeah.
David Brooks scores last 96 minute and runs and gets the ball out of the net with
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. In
10
like,
seconds to go.
yeah.
Right. Anyone listening to the podcast now, just watch this. Don't watch the game. Watch Mayday's goal and then watch what happens after the goal. There's 3 or 4 players. I think one of them crossed it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it was, but I'm sure he had his shirt over his head. There was like 4 or 5 of them all run and celebrate. No one went and got the ball. No one thought, right, there's
Mm,
probably 2 minutes left. Right? We need 3 points. One is
mm,
okay, but we need three. Go get the ball, put it on the spot, show your intention. We're coming for you again. And if we pump it in the box, Mayday's on fire, flick on, it takes 10 seconds to score a goal. But
yeah.
I would show the players that sort of reaction to the equalising goal. It wasn't right, let's go and get a third. It was, we're
Phew,
not
yeah,
losing.
yeah, we got a
Great,
point.
we've got a point. And points at the moment aren't enough because their goal difference
Mm,
is woeful. They're 10 down on who's above them. Derby.
Mm.
Derby are above them. So they're 10 goals down on Derby. You know what I mean? The goal difference is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
that's
And then Stoke
huge.
above them, like Stoke are on -8, I think, something like that. Maybe different after the other night. But, Cardiff, it, if them and Derby end up on level points, Cardiff go down.
Mm.
That's what they got to realize. So they need to get like above Derby, not by like a point or two, because if it goes down to the final game and they win and you don't, you're gone. If you get down to the last game and you both need a win and you both draw, you're gone. And you both win, you're gone. So the goal difference is like a point.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
It's effectively another point. So Cardiff not only need to, in other words, Cardiff need to get 4 points ahead of Derby before the last game of the season. Then I would feel comfortable. If they went into the last game of the season 4 points ahead of Derby or whoever's third bottom, I'm a happy man because they can't go down. It's only 3 points for a win. But if they're on even terms going into the last game of the season,
Kind of down. Yeah.
effectively Cardiff are a point behind.
And I feel like fans are feeling it now. Uh,
Oh,
where,
mate. But I never seen that sort of reaction from Cardiff fans before, where this was first half, mind,
yeah.
where they were, oh, come on, kick it. And I was like, okay, I completely understand it because what we're watching isn't a team that is showing that sort of urgency to get out of the bottom three.
Yeah. The fight to get it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
totally get you. I'm scared. But
Listen, if they go down, listen, if they go down, it's been coming,
yeah.
Dav.
Yeah.
What I'd say to Mr. Tan is this is what I say. It doesn't, and Mehmet and Ken, you can't just buy your way out of it all the time. Sometimes the footballing gods make a decision and say, well, you've played with it long enough. We're gonna, money doesn't equate to success in football. A lot of people think so, but I would say Everton, Mashiri spent £500 million in his club for him to still stay languishing at the bottom of the Premier League fighting relegation. Give me half a freaking million, I could do better with it. You know what I mean? I'm £500 million. So I'd say to the owner, I've always said, you put money in, but it's not, he'd be better saying to someone, right, you run it for me, I'll sit in the background and take all the adulation. Fine. Fine. Blake's would run it for you, and you can take all the adulation you want, but at least you know the person is in front of you is one looking after your finances, right?
Yeah.
Because I know he talks about being done by old managers and what have you, but at some point you've got to relinquish that control to a degree because you can't keep swimming in this desperate pool. Because, like I say, this is the season.
Yeah.
This is the season, and they've openly admitted they've done things wrong over the last 10 years, but now we're going to do things right. And ironically, that was said sort of at the start of the season with the supporters trust meeting by Mehmet, and it wouldn't it be ironic that that's the season you go down?
Yeah.
So let's move on anyway.
Yeah. Right. Final thing then
Let's talk about
I think this is good fun. Is we've seen Craig Bellamy on Sky Sports recently. Craig Bellamy, he's doing things right. He's doing things healthy. Everyone in Wales is on board with what he's doing. That's a given. He did talk about non-negotiables. And like one of the things was that you don't swap your shirt, which was interesting. Like I think probably 50-50 in people thinking like, yeah, totally get what you mean. And then other people not necessarily disagreeing, but thinking, it'd be nice. It can be a nice gesture. My question to you, Nath, is have you ever come across any non-negotiables in your time? And if you were a manager, would you have any non-negotiables yourself?
I've never come across any. You kind of know what the non-negotiables are. I never come across the you're not allowed to swap your shirt because, you know, I see it as right, you're in a battle with your opponent, but it's a sporting gesture.
Yeah.
A handshake. You know, listen, if Pele can swap shirts with Bobby Moore, right, one of the most iconic pictures you'll ever see, the both of them shaking hands with their shirts over their shoulder,
Yeah.
then for me, like if a player who we've just had a ding dong for 90 minutes, right, comes up to me and says, shake hands, let's swap shirts.
Mm.
I would not swap. So I would probably get kicked out the Craig squad for that. Because I see it as a sporting gesture,
Yeah.
right? As a sort of mark of respect. We've just had a great game. We've battered shit out of each other for 90 minutes. And now we're shaking hands. It's like two boxers, right? Or two UFC fighters. You see a world championship, you see them go the distance, they knock 10 bells out of each other, and then they shake hands, hug each other, and say, right, good luck in your future. You know,
Mm.
but listen, Craig has his rules, Craig has his beliefs. We're all different. And listen, if that's his rule and the players abide by it, fine and dandy. But I would say it's difficult if a player is in a position where an opponent comes up and says,
Yeah.
shake hand and swaps his shit. Because sometimes people just do it as a natural sort of, we've had a great game, like take off their shirt. For you to then turn around and go, no, I'm not swapping shirts. It's, but it comes from the manager. So everyone will know now, don't swap shirts. So opponents won't even bother taking off their shirts like that. But no, I never come across any real, what I'd say, non-negotiables.
Mm.
And I think the other one was like throwing a shirt on the
Yeah,
floor.
the badge doesn't touch the ground.
Yeah. So what we used to do was take it off and lay it in the middle.
Yeah.
So you lay your shirt down, lay your socks down, lay your shorts down, rather than just because at one point, like players would just take off their kit and throw it in the middle and expect someone else to pick it up, roll out their socks and all that. And I used to think, well, like I never been brought up like that. I pull my socks off apart, lay them down, what have you. But you've just come off a battle for 90 minutes, so I understand. But yeah, I quite like that. You don't put your shirt, the badge on the ground. I like that.
I like that actually. I think it's a nice. It sets precedent, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like I look at like Cardiff red change, badge change. And like I said to someone once, like they were saying to me, Steve Tucker it was, God rest him. And he said to me, oh, 100 million, Vincent Tan's going to put 100 million, let him change the color, let him change it. And I said, like, so if a player come, I was a player, I took my shirt off, chucked it on the ground and stamped on it, what would you say? You'd say I disrespected the shirt, never play for Cardiff again. Like, you can't, there's money, you can't sell your colors, your whole freaking history for the sake of money. That's just madness. But, it's how it goes sometimes.
Sweet.
He was a different man, Tux. He was a different
Nay, thank you so much. I think you've got to head off to a meeting now, don't you? But
yeah, just an 11 o'clock, mate. So sorry to cut you short, Dan.
No, it's all right. I think we got two eps worth. Right.
But I think we've covered. I think I didn't really want to talk about Cardiff. We could have just stuck on the Craig Bellamy non-negotiables. But
yeah,
I'm sure those listeners who do tune in would expect me to say something, listening to me commentate on the game the other night.
Absolutely. Hey, have a great day and speak to you soon.
Yes, Dav.
All the best.
Take care, bro. Peace.